Marriott, Hyatt, Hilton, Southwest, United, Delta, the list goes on. There's so many different brands and so many credit cards to get, how do you even choose? In this edition of our travel hacking series, we're going to focus on the supporting players of your wallet. These shouldn't be your first choice to open or for everyday spending. Those were covered in our last travel hacking episode. But they'll take your travel hacking game to the next level with top-tier benefits and savings.
Welcome to the Travel More podcast.
Each episode, we share custom itineraries, travel hacks, expert advice, and even stories of our past travel failures to help you level up your travel game.
I'm Shelly, a lover of plans, itineraries, and cheap flights. I'm an expert deal finder with one eye always on the budget.
And I'm Bruce, the improviser, ready to pick up where plans fail to turn letdowns into unexpected trip favorites. We're here to bust through barriers that stop you from making your travel dreams a reality.
So book that flight, buy the tickets, and say hello to your next adventure.
This is the Travel More podcast. Welcome back to summer school.
Welcome back.
So today we're going to dive back into travel hacking.
My favorite type of episode.
Hopefully you've listened to our past ones, so today isn't like, whoa, what are we even talking about right now?
And if it is, just go back.
Yeah, just go back and check it out, especially the lingo one, so you can get an idea of some of the jargon we're going to use. But also we did just talk about main player credit cards.
Yeah, so those should be your first ones. If you don't have a travel credit card, pause right now and go backwards. Don't let these be your first ones. They're not going to give you the most bang for your buck.
Definitely. But, once you're ready to look into this, it can really kind of expand your options and get into some really cool rewards.
Yeah, some really cool stuff. It's really just like the next level of travel hacking. So these, they start to get really fun. You start to feel very fancy in the airports and hotels, and you're getting upgrades and all kinds of things. So like I said, this kind of brings your travel hacking up to the next level.
It is fun because I know we just used a Marriott Bonvoy night when we were traveling, and we got there and they upgraded us.
Yep.
So you just kind of feel
cool,
you feel like VIP. It's kind of fun. So.
Yeah. So we're gonna go over these. We're gonna start with hotels because those are, to me, they're the easiest to get, because even if you do staycations or you have to go to your kid's baseball game out of town, there's a lot of ways that you'd use hotels even if you aren't taking a big trip. So I think that they're probably the easiest to get the benefit out of.
Yeah, I'd say so too. And especially the hotels we're about to talk about, they're pretty much everywhere.
Yeah.
Whereas
have big footprints.
Right. Whereas the airlines, it kind of depends on where you are.
Yeah. So let's jump into it. So one of the big questions you want to ask yourself when you go to open a hotel credit card is, first of all, do they give me a free night certificate? Most hotel cards with an annual fee include that free night certificate, so don't ignore ones with annual fees. And as long as you know you'll travel at least once a year for one night, the card is worth having in your wallet. Second of all, do they offer status or a road to status? Depending on the brand, hotel status can not only be a total baller move, but they can also save you a lot of money. So
what are some of the big players in the industry, and who would benefit?
Yeah, let's jump into probably the biggest one, honestly.
Hyatt,
yeah,
for sure. So they're definitely the most talked about in the travel hacking world, and the reason is because they just have great redemption opportunities.
Yeah, so we talked last time about Chase being one of the ecosystems. This is Chase's transfer partner. I don't think anyone else transfers, but they go 1-to-1, and it can be crazy good redemption values.
Yeah, if I remember, for some of the things we looked at, the Hyatts abroad, especially in Asia, people.
Yeah, they're crazy.
They book some of the most premier 5-star, 5-diamond resorts with
20, 30, 40,000 points. But you think about that at 1 cent per point, that's $300 a night for a $1,500 a night hotel room. There's some pretty good ones. Even just a little minor one is we're using it in Frankfurt, Germany, just as an overnight before a flight, and the hotel cost, I think $170 a night. It's an airport hotel, and we got it for 5,000 points. So that would be $50 as 1 cent per point in Capital One.
Yeah, you can't get that. So.
Yeah, so it is good. They're really cheap. And they also have their status is called Globalist. Their top tier status is a Globalist. And it just comes with a super long list of benefits, and people are kind of obsessed in the points and miles world with getting to Globalist. And then there's some ways that you can do that, and one of them is to have the Hyatt card. it gives you kind of a road to globalist.
Yeah, because when you have the card, it kind of jumps you ahead a little bit.
Yeah.
So if you were just trying to, usually you have to accumulate nights to kind of get a
globalist
status.
is like 60 nights, which even for us, that's a lot,
It's a lot
of hotel rooms.
But then you have to ask yourself, like, some people, if you travel for work, you definitely want to be looking into these things.
Yeah.
So you could definitely get to that status a lot easier.
Yeah. So the Hyatt's a good one to think about, especially if you also have the Chase card, because it's a good pair.
All right, so the next one makes me sad a little bit. Marriott, mostly because this is the kind of the first avenue we went down for our second players.
Yeah.
But the issue is, like, recently they kind of tanked their loyalty by continuing to devalue their points.
Yeah.
So their redemptions used to be better.
Yeah.
But they're not as great anymore.
No, so like that 5,000 point in Frankfurt, like the Marriott next door would have been like, 20,000 points, and it's like, well, that's the same as paying it in cash in terms of points. So, like, that's not a great redemption.
I've been looking for a lot of the trips we've been planning for the coming year. I've been looking at Marriott, and it doesn't seem like it's the best value for the points.
Yeah.
That's what we're getting at. And even when we were driving back from Florida, we stayed at like whatever kind of town in North Carolina. It wasn't, a big tourist destination. And even there, like, it was okay what we got for points, but it wasn't anything to, write home about.
No.
So.
But, we have the Marriott card, and we're going to continue to keep it in our wallet, mostly because it has that free night certificate.
That's true. It's worth it alone just to have that.
Even at $95, we consistently get $125, $150 a night hotel. So for us, it's worth it to keep it just for that. And that's honestly what a lot of these programs are, is you're getting enough value out of the card to keep it, even if it's not one that you're really like earning and spending points on.
Okay, so Hyatt and Marriott are probably the big ones. And then you've got Hilton and Holiday Inn and some others. And all of these cards get you automatic status or a road to it, which will definitely improve your travel style. So really, you want to look at where you'd want to stay and then kind of pick a card that goes with it.
Yeah, we just like kind of were like, no, on Marriott. But Marriott does have, I think, the biggest footprint of any hotel chain like in the world. So Hyatt, while it has a great redemption value, doesn't always have hotels in the area. Like, you're talking about our road trip back from Florida, and there weren't Hyatts where we were staying, but there were like 3 Marriott options in every single like exit.
Right, and that is something about Marriott. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
So I can see the benefit of for instance, the Marriott card right now we're using for gas because it gives like 5 times the points. So when we do kind of look for points in Marriott, we know there's almost everywhere we go. But Hyatt is really talked about because internationally they have some really awesome hotels, and the redemption is pretty awesome. Yeah,
if they're going to be where you are, awesome. But also, just as a side note, that 5 times on gas is just a promo. It's not always 5 times on gas. I just don't want you to get confused.
That's true. It's only like right now.
Yeah. Another little bonus one is that Wyndham now pairs with Vacasa. So Vacasa is like a home rental platform, kind of like Airbnb. And you can use your points on it. So you can earn them through a co-branded card like the Wyndham one, or you can transfer them from your Capital One as a 1-to-1 to Wyndham. So that's pretty cool. If you're a person who likes to like rent houses and stuff, it can be a really great way to do that on points.
All right, so let's move on to airline cards.
Ooh, airline cards are fun.
So I think, kind of like hotels, but even more so, you really got to think about an airline that you love.
Yeah.
And you want to think, are you at a hub? So, like, are you in Chicago? Are you in New York area? You want to know what airline is mostly there. So, are you going to get a ton of flights from United or Delta, etc.?
Right. Like, Delta for us doesn't make a lot of sense. In Hartford, they have, for where we go, there's, almost never flights.
Right.
So, that doesn't really make a lot of sense. So you really want to look. You can look at Google Flights even to see how many flights leave to where you like to go often, and see if there's an airline that consistently pops up, or one that you just know you like to travel with. Like
for us, I know JetBlue is probably one to consider, just because we go down to Orlando a lot, or even leaving out of Boston.
Flights.
Exactly. Yeah. So Hartford and Boston, JetBlue is really big.
Yeah. So it definitely just depends on your city, your hub, and what you like to fly. But let's talk about what are some of those things you can look for.
Okay, so first off, just like the hotel cards, we want to know, does this card give me status or a road to status? This is a great reason to hold a co-branded card since we won't be putting our regular spend on it. We only want an airline card if we can find the value out of it.
And that's so important because status is cool, but would you have already spent those things? So for example, if the status gives you 4 upgrades a year, would you have upgraded anyways, and therefore is it saving you money, or is it just a perk? Because when I find the value of a card, I want to make sure I would have spent that money anyways, and that anything else is just a fun perk. Does that make sense? So it's like with the Marriott card and the free night certificate, if I wasn't already going to stay in a Marriott hotel, once a year, and I'm just doing it just because I have the benefit, that's no longer actually value.
Right. Because you're not getting anything out of it.
Right. You're just getting it because you're doing it because you have it.
Right.
That's not really the value. I would call that like a fringe benefit.
And essentially, if you find yourself having to find opportunities to use the benefit as opposed to supplanting what you already would have done, you don't really want to go down that path. Like, man, I need to use this night and I wouldn't have anyway. Let's make a trip out of it.
Yeah, I mean, one time, like 1 year, because it's a busy year, whatever, that's different. But if you do it like 2 years in a row, 3 years in a row, you should probably cancel that card.
Yeah, it's not really working for you the way you need it to be.
Right. So some things you could look at beyond status on a card that I think are very valuable are things like free checked bags, like I mentioned, free upgrades, use of lounges. Use of lounge is a little bit of a fringe benefit for us, but if you were going to pay to use a lounge otherwise, that could be a part of a value for you. But to me, the like holy grail of credit card benefits is the companion pass. And this is on Southwest. So I have been trying to make Southwest work for us for so long. But the companion pass, if you are in a place where Southwest flies often, is the best thing ever. It literally just gives you a free flight for someone that's flying with you.
And all they have to do is pay like taxes, right?
Which is like $5 on Southwest.
Yeah, so
it's wild.
It's pretty incredible.
Like, and I'm talking unlimited companion. Like, you can, it's one person, but like that one person can fly with you an unlimited amount of times for as long as you have the companion pass. So if you time it right, it can be almost 2 years that someone flies free with you.
What?
Yeah, and this could be
I'm like learning this right now when you're telling me about this, and it's kind of blowing my mind.
I feel like I tried to tell you this.
Why do we live where there's no Southwest flights?
I know. It literally would be a reason to move. Because I'm talking people go to like Hawaii and bring their significant other. What? They're going across the country.
This is literally worth the rent of a place that has Southwest and the moving costs to have a companion.
That is...
is this a slippery slope?
Yes, there's your slippery slope for you right there.
Don't listen to me.
Yeah, don't listen to
Shelly. Most all the time. 99% of the time, she's correct.
But anyways, the Southwest can be just a very cool perk, and especially if you have a place that flies Southwest often, it could definitely be just an amazing value for a card.
And one thing to keep in mind is, don't be afraid of higher annual fees on airline cards, because they really do come with amazing perks. Just like the Southwest one you just heard from Shelly, and I just heard as well. It was like a bonus content. I'm like, wow. But, you want to make sure you get the value out of it and don't fall for the shiny new card syndrome.
Right. Remember, the perks are cool, but only consider them value if you would have spent that money anyways.
Yes. So, if you've been able to use any of this information, or you have any, travel hacking stories or credit card ideas
or questions,
or really cool redemptions, that'd be cool too. If you're somebody out there that's found, I'm looking for those people who've gone to like, Singapore or Thailand and stayed at the 5 Diamond Hyatt.
Hey, we have some on our Facebook community, and their stories are incredible. So definitely come over there with us.
Check it out.
Yeah, we'll put the link in the show notes, but it's just a good place to kind of talk credit cards, talk travel, get some good itineraries and things, and we have a good time over there. So join us over there, and we will see you next time over here in Summer School.
Thanks for listening.
Did you know that every time you book a Disney or Universal vacation, you're paying for a service that you may not even be using?
Really?
That's right. Travel agent costs are added to your Disney or Universal vacation, whether you use one or not.
So you're telling me that I'm paying for something even though I'm not getting the help?
You got it. So next time you want to book a theme park vacation, make your money work for you. By booking with Magic Pass Travel, you'll get our expertise and years of experience without paying any extra and while supporting a small business.
Check out our show notes to find our contact information.
Can't wait to help you plan your next adventure.